being consistent, being diligent, being patient are things that you learn, I feel like, through going through therapy. I was able to learn a lot more about how people perceive me. Therapy helped me to understand my triggers, and this was important. You realize therapy is not just something that you just go to when you want to. It's mandatory, it's necessary. So with anything that you're looking to do, I feel like therapy can be very much helpful to get you on the right path for you to be successful. And when I started to think about it a little bit more, I just put together a list of some of the benefits that I've received and was able to get from going to therapy. So first, I was able to get much more clear in life about what it was that I was doing. So, and this was from anything from relationships to my personal and professional life. It even helped me to get much more in depth with my friendships, to really shine a light on my friendships, to figure out, okay, was this a beneficial friendship? Was this a friendship that was helpful for me with the path that I was going for my goals, my personal and professional goals? You know, when I started to really get more clear, it helped me understand that things were not as black and white as I was used to. I mean, I'm an engineer, so more times than not, things are very black and white. What I noticed in therapy is that things are very much gray. Those friendships that I was looking at or shining a light on to understand, sometimes those friendships, it wasn't necessarily that they were good or bad. It were just certain situations that per se wasn't that good, or a certain situation that essentially wasn't that bad. So it helped me and it gave me the tools to kind of move forward with a lot of my personal and professional goals, which was very helpful. Next, I feel like therapy was able to help me to get more consistent with anything that I was looking to do. It helped me, once I was clear, to really home in on that why. Because anything that I was looking to do, my takeaway was, well, I need to really understand what my why is. And that why being, okay, if I want to lose, say 20 pounds, why do I want to lose 20, 30 pounds? So because I was able to know my why and really believe in my why, it helped me to go a little bit harder in the gym. And also to know that I was doing that for me. I wasn't doing that for my future girlfriend at the time. I wasn't doing that for anybody else. It was for health and it was for me. So next, I feel like therapy helped me to understand my triggers. And this was important because as a black man, we go through so much living in this world, in the United States, right? And so we get a lot of things thrown at us. There's a lot of weight that we hold. There's a lot of times that we feel like our back is up against the wall. Therapy had taught me to really go back in my past, in my childhood, to figure out the why behind, those triggers would come about. One thing specifically that always stuck out for me is I did not like when I was trying to make a point or I was trying to say something and someone would cut me off, or I was not able to get my point across when there was a time where things got heated or got intense. I don't feel like it was a bad thing, but this was something that I learned about my past. It was something of how I grew up. Being young, being a young black boy growing up into manhood, there are a lot of times when our voice is not necessarily heard. And for me, that was a big trigger. So going to therapy helped me to understand that trigger, understand where it came from, and gave me the tools to be able to, when that type of thing came up, to look at both sides of the argument. Going to therapy helped me to keep a good balance while I was communicating and while I was potentially getting triggered. So something else that therapy taught me was to understand how to deal with the ebb and flow of life. What I've learned throughout time, especially consistently going to therapy for quite some time, I learned about how life a lot of times is a consistent up and down. When things are doing well, when you got that promotion, when you got that good relationship, when you got a lot of positive things happening with your business or with your family, a lot of times we're blinded to the idea or the fact that things may go low again. Something bad may happen. A mistake may happen. Somebody might get upset with somebody. Somebody might fall out with somebody. There might be a disagreement. A lot of times we're blinded with that. And what therapy helped me to understand was that life is constantly about ups and downs. It also taught me how to not really hold on to the fact that that piece or that thing is going wrong. It taught me to think about the ways that I'm able to work through. Think about those people who have something bad that happens and how that affects them. Do they does it completely just make them lose it? And think about that person that's more level-headed when something bad happens. How do they react to it? It made me start to think about things like that. Something else I learned in therapy is that it's very important to be diligent, but it's also very important to be patient. That essentially spanned across every area of my life as it related to fitness and wellness. So a lot of us start working out, right? And the first thing that a lot of people say is, yeah, I want to have a flat stomach. Yeah, I want to be able to go and bench press all this weight, and look real buff and things like that. And it don't necessarily happen like that all the time. There's a lot of times where we need to sit down and, first of all, learn how to have a weight training program. We need to learn what to eat. We need to understand a good workout schedule. We need to learn how to set goals. People set a goal to go in there and work out and they quit like the first, second week. Being consistent, being diligent, being patient are things that you learn, I feel like, through going through therapy. Something else I learned in therapy was really how to prepare myself and honestly get ready for marriage. The first thing it helped me to understand is how to be kind. A lot of times when you hear someone talk about marriage, if you hear them say their vows, a lot of times you'll hear love is patient, love is kind, right? Here's what happens when you go through life. One thing that I've learned is that there's always going to be a scenario where something gets under your skin or gets under your partner's skin. What do you do when that happens? And are you able to find a way to still be kind? That's really important. Another thing I learned was about service, right? And so the service piece and being ready from a service perspective is, marriage in per se, a lot of people think, or a lot of people say that, oh, okay, marriage is going to be 50-50. No, marriage is not 50-50 100% of the time. And having and being able to sit down with someone to get through my thoughts and talk that out, what I've learned and how I was able to prepare for marriage was to prepare and be ready for those times when marriage was not 50-50. One thing that's constant, a lot of people don't realize, is time. Time is not gonna slow down for anybody. If the world starts going bad and inflation starts to hit like crazy like it is, and bills keep coming, life keeps coming, you gotta find a way to just keep dealing with life. You learn this and you're able to try and experience this by yourself. But the other piece is, how do you experience that with another person, another human being? Something else I learned about therapy is working through conflict. So working through conflict, it's the whole idea of, well, I've been growing up all my life one way. You've been growing up all your life one way. Within the period of us getting to know each other, that there is going to be conflict. You're going to have your opinion. I'm going to have my opinion. Who's right? At this point, it doesn't matter who's right. It's about how do you work through. And when it comes to working through, what I learned in therapy is that there are times where you have to discuss the facts. There are times where you have to discuss the feelings. And then the piece is, how do you put together a plan, a strategic plan to actually move forward? Honestly, when I learned how to do that, I feel like it truly helped me to be ready for my wife right now. Because when it relates to us dealing with a conflict or dealing with a disagreement, man, let me tell you, we're able to really work through it as a team. And that's what it's about, working through things as a team. Thank you for joining me. This was actually really difficult to talk about. I don't necessarily talk about the therapy piece on this channel, but I feel like it's important because as we go through life, as we do new things, and as we step out of our comfort zone, it's important for you to have a strong mental, right? And if your mental isn't strong, you're not gonna be able to continue. You may start something, you're not gonna finish it, you're not gonna move through, you're gonna try and move around or you're just gonna stop. And so that's why I feel like this conversation is important. I thank you for joining me, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. We out.